Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR442. It's New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 2, and I am not alone. Up first, by my side for every WWE and AEW show, and celebrating 2 years on the WNR podcast, it is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How you doing?
Hey, happy 2 year anniversary to us. This has been an exciting journey, and 2 years, it's kind of just flown by.
Do you know what? It is one of my longest relationships that I've had, and Jax, I think we've worked it
I'm
well.
honored. I'm honored. It's an honor.
It's great. It's great to say, and obviously you've been part of the team. But it's more than that because you were looking back on it as well, and we're going to go into a little bit detail. You were I did a pod with a couple of people once Dan left, and it's weird. Like we said, since 30th September 2020, and you kind of stuck around, and you have turned into the kind of, I would say, like I don't want to upset obviously anybody else, but like the co-captain of the WNR podcast. Would that be fair to say?
I mean, I kind of do feel like a veteran of the WNR podcast now. Certainly don't feel like the newest member, of course, which we'll have coming up to their 1 year anniversary as well. But yeah, it does feel kind of more like, I am part of the team, so to speak. So yeah, I would say that's a safe judgment to assess.
Well, like I said, I'm going to probably make a few judgments about, a couple of people here today. And if I am wrong, then please call me on it. But like I said, 2 years ago, and I just mentioned, Jaxie, do you know what your first episode was? And I'm putting you on the spot right now. Can you remember?
I want to say it was Hell in a Cell.
You are so close. It's Clash of the Champions.
Oh, damn. See, I thought Clash of the Champions was our second one. Okay, I got those two mixed up, maybe.
Yeah, Clash. Well, the question is as well, do you want to hear what you sounded like the very first time that we spoke?
No, you really do not have to play it. Honestly, I cannot stand hearing myself back, and I only do it when these get aired in the first place. I only need to hear it once. I'm going to say no.
Well, for everybody listening, let me play the very first time that
Oh.
Jaxie and myself had a conversation. Trust me, for some reason, I'm doing my posh voice. I don't know why. but it's obviously, I wanted to make an impression. So it's only a little clip. This is Jaxie's very first time on the WNR podcast.
Hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR 310. It's the Clash of Champions 2020, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by a very special guest co-host at Jaxie Scarlett. How you doing?
Hi there. Good, thanks, and you?
Yeah, all good, all good. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Really looking forward to Clash. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm at Jaxie Scarlett, and I'm a co-host for O-Face Wrestling Podcast, and that's at O-Face Wrestling as well, in case you guys want to check us out.
Yeah, and of course, check them out. They do some great content there. What was your excitement levels leading into this event before we actually talk about anything? Were you excited? Because I think the pay-per-view came along so soon, it seemed like there wasn't a lot of build.
I think personally, I was less excited, more anxious, because I mean, shortly before the pay-per-view started, we'd heard of certain rumors of matches being cancelled. So we didn't get to hear much on which ones were cancelled really until last minute. So it was more kind of nervous, really.
See, it wasn't too bad, was it?
I mean, yeah, but I'm always going to judge my own voice. So I'm just going to say, you're welcome for listening to my voice. Let's move on.
I'm about to say, O-Face Wrestling. I don't. When I heard O-Face Wrestling, I thought, did I really steal Jaxie from those guys? And I guess I did, you know, I guess we did. But like I said, it wasn't too bad. We were so polite at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both were though, especially now that 2 years down the line, it kind of just feels like we're friends. So we're much more brutally honest with one another.
Without that, but like we said, we are joined as well by our next guest, and last but by no means least, as I always have said, the next I quote one of the greatest songs ever written. Ooh, ah, just a little bit. Ooh, ah, a little bit more. Ooh, ah, just a little bit. You know what I'm looking for. Ooh, ah, just a little bit. Ooh, ah, a little bit more. Ooh, ah, just a little bit. I'll give you Gina. You can't ignore. And that was that was from Gina G. And now we welcome our own Gina G. It's Jeannie's Gina. How's it going?
Hey, that was so good. I actually used to love that song when I was a kid as well, so it was right on point.
I try my best. I will never sing for you, but never in tune. All right, that's the deal, and that's what I'm going to keep. So,
can we also say, please do not ever replay my first episode because I probably sound like a Virgin Mary.
Well, it's weird you say that. Because obviously,
no.
I don't want to be the guy just putting Jaxie on the spot.
To play with us both. You definitely just want to play with us both.
So, Gina, I will ask you, if you have been here for nearly a year, do you remember your first show you did on the WNR podcast?
I'm stuck between, was it a Christmas special episode that we did, or was it a Royal Rumble?
It was the 13th of November, 2021, and it was Full Gear. And
I don't know.
Now, I know it's a month off, but it wouldn't be fair if we just didn't hear a little bit, you know, of the very first time. And as an added bonus, there is Monty and Jaxie in this clip as well.
Okay, good.
I'm excited. Let's do this, man. We're back live.
Hello, everyone. Happy Full Gear night. I'm super excited to be here and super excited at the special guest we have.
Got a very special guest, and last but by no means least, our special guest is Purple Rain, aka Gina. How you doing?
Hello, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super excited to join you all.
Well, it's fantastic to have you on the course. I was just going to say it's great to have you, but what is your connection to the WNR?
So my connection is my twin sister is Jaxie Scarlett.
Oh, dun, dun, dun. So it's finally happened. We're his twins on the show. Can I just say how happy I am to have you obviously both on, but Gina, of course, this is your first time. So kind of what wrestling are you into?
So I was into WWE, but I won't lie, I have kind of refrained from watching that recently. I'm more of an AEW girl now. AEW is like my baby.
Well, I'm glad I was doing AEW tonight. See, there you go. Wasn't too bad, Gina, you know?
I just sounded nervous. I'm fine though.
Look, I have the ability to make people nervous. It's like a superhuman ability or something. I don't know, but so you know, and I know it's still a year, but nearly a year now. You know, like we said, only a month away from that very special time. You know,
for sure. It's been a great year though, and I've really enjoyed sort of coming out of my shell throughout every podcast that we do. So it's nice to hear the very beginning. I'm happy to never hear it again though.
Yeah, that's it now. You know, don't worry about that. So like I said, it should be a fun show. We have got New Japan coming up. But we just want to give out a couple of thank yous. So we talk about the anniversary show, or the anniversaries of people here as well. Also, everyone that has listened, liked, subscribed, or followed us. Of course, the ultimate one, and Monty as well, which I'll speak about in a second. But we want to talk about a second, and this might be a little bit indulgent, but I just want to kind of do it, to kind of get off my chest and speak to it. First up, with you, Jaxie, as well. We talk about kind of doing this for 2 years, and it's like a RuPaul speech coming, basically, all right? So don't worry about that. So basically, I was going to just say with Jaxie is that I'm so proud of you from where you first started to kind of now, and you are a powerhouse. There's no doubt about that, and you called it like you see it. There was worry in the emails that we had as well from people saying, we even talked about on the pod with kind of happy Jaxie for AEW shows and WWE stuff. But as you see the changes, you kind of call it as you see it, and you always have done. And also another kind of weird thing as well, what I felt even kind of meeting me personal on the pod, you've kind of got this kind of keep your cool, even though others around you, usually Gina, maybe myself, are kind of losing their shit, which is an ability which is, really, really good. I don't want to say, we talked about earlier, like a co-captain or the kind of mother of the group as well, but I just want to thank you for being part of this for 2 years because, like I said, it's been a hell of a journey, and especially what we've done this year. And like I said, hopefully it's turned into a friendship that lasts, for a long time, if not forever.
Oh, thanks, James. No, that was really sweet. I feel exactly the same way. I've really kind of grown into sort of being comfortable with, sort of podcasting. This is the first time I've done it very regularly. It's just been great to kind of have, people's sort of reactions to everything and just take genuine concern every now and again. It's just been fun and a roller coaster, and one that I am very happy to continue riding for this moment in time, especially because we've got so much great content of wrestling, and who else to better discuss it with than yourselves? I get to do this with my sister, and I've grown a budding friendship with yourself as well. So thank you for letting me be part of this team, and thank you everyone for listening as well, week in and week out.
Yeah, a lot to talk about as well. Consistently, I think you are the most consistent member of the team. Like it's always you're going to always do that. I've moved episodes before. We all have, but like I said, and that's always going to be a good thing. So thank you as well. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for also giving me this opportunity and this platform. I don't think I ever considered podcasting, on a consistent basis. Since before yourselves, I kind of got a first brief sort of dip into it when I was part of the O-Face team, and it's just kind of nice to be able to. It was much better, I think, sometimes when it's hosted via someone in a different country. Always fun to be part of a team though. So just kind of being able to find my footing in this sort of podcast has been fun.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. So let's hope we can continue it for as long as possible. And Gina, with you as well, I was thinking I was going to be a bit condescending maybe at some point. I thought like kind of work in progress, but I don't think it is. I think the biggest problem what we've had together is your kind of inner saboteur, which I can definitely relate to because I don't even listen to myself back on these podcasts. That's how much kind of I am, and it's kind of nice to be open about it sometimes and think, do people actually care about what we say? And they do. And if there's anything, Gina, the love that you get from the emails, and some of it is dirty stuff, and people should stop that. But like the other stuff is really, really nice,
Am I actually getting those? I'm probably inciting it because everything out of my mouth just always seems to be a bit of an innuendo, even though I don't try to make it. It just seems to be that way. So
in your window. No, sorry, my bad. That's what I mean. But like I said, it's weird as well. Is that you're the only one I've not done podcasts with? We haven't done a one-on-one show. Whereas Jaxie had that to kind of get ready for a kind of group stuff. You were kind of thrown in at the deep end, and especially with the kind of if the Ultimate one was on, you still kind of showed that you belonged in a way. There wasn't kind of anything wrong about it. And even though you may be the newest member, let's not forget you are the very first one that I met in person. So that got to say something, I mean, let's just set the picture here, just like a rom-com. All right, I saw you outside that train station and asked the immortal question, "Are you Gina?" And I knew at that moment you were the one that I had been doing the podcast with for a year. I had got the right person. I was glad about that. But like I said, it was a nice moment. And for me as well, and Jaxie, those parts.
It was.
But I always say that.
Yeah, no, I have to give you a little bit of a shout out, James, because you've not gotten us confused once, and you've met us twice now in person, and still managed to get us both right. So yeah, kudos to you.
Do you know what? I was going to say this, and I don't know how. I don't want to upset anybody, but I don't understand, and I've had emails about this, how anybody can confuse the two of you, and I don't know why. But it's like I said, even for you guys last weekend, it's like, oh, that's Jaxie, that's Gina. I mean, I'm not calling you by your right name, Jaxie, but still, like you said, there's an advantage there. And it is individuals. And I don't know if that's the fact that, Jaxie, you've been doing it for kind of 2 years and then Gina for a year. Or even, like I said, the sense of characters with especially with you, Gina, there's a sense of kind of mischief that if we kind of like, we could end up anywhere, which is a kind of exciting character trait.
I mean, I have had that one night where I've gone out with my sister and she's lost me for maybe an hour, and I've come running back and I said, "Have you got your passport on you?" And she was like, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Right, I've told some people we're going to go to Paris with them tonight, right?" And my sister's like, "Hold up, hold up." I was like, "We're not going." I knew right at that moment that G mode was out, and immediately put her in a taxi before we ended up on some random flight. Years later, I still question why you didn't let us go. We should have just gone. Nope.
The thing is, I probably would have gone. Jaxie, if you'd have said, like, "Oh, come on," but in that situation, if it was just me and Gina, we would end up in like Belgium 72 hours later, ringing
you're coming out to fly over to get you both. Like, this is exactly why I can't leave you two alone. It really is.
Honestly, like, and again, even to be with individuals, it's like for me very, very different. But even together, there's this kind of energy where I know some people might say, even with people being loud or kind, like enjoying themselves, and it's like that for me anyway. It is more than anything. It's just enjoying yourself, being in the moment. The kind of passion you have for wrestling, and it seems in life, is just infectious. And it just kind of. And I'm not going to lie, like. There's a few times even in this podcast where you think about when you're going to end it or when things are going to finish or, stuff like this. And the whole thing here, especially with kind of prediction leagues and then the Clash and, of course, Royal Quest, I would do this for an hour long, until the wheels come off now. And it is down to both of you, so just like the fact. And Gina, like I said to you, it is a pleasure to have you on here for a year and hopefully many more as well,
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate being brought on just as a guest, for Jaxie's twin sister to provide some of her insight as well. And it's just been nice to sort of learn myself as I go along with each episode. And I may be the newest member, but I do know that I've probably grown the most out of everybody on here as well. So I think it just all ties into one. And I appreciate everybody who's listened. I'm sorry if you've not liked any of my comments, but I appreciate you sticking with us.
Well, like I said, they have stuck with us and they're already here. And people listening, like I said, long-term listeners or anybody from this year as well will realise that Monty is not on the show today. I just want to say with Monty as well, but seriously, it's 3 great people. I mean, you two, but Monty as well. To join and put up with NXT guys, not even the good stuff he's watching. He's having to do that. Fair play. And like I said, it was the only negative thing about the trip to the Clash and even to Royal Quest was not having Monty with us. But don't worry, everybody listening, Monty will return. I don't make promises, but I promise you he will return to WNR Podcast. And when he does, we'll celebrate his 2-year anniversary and force him, like we did with Jaxie and Gina, to listen to when he first joined. So if you are listening to this, Monty, we do love you, all right?
Sending lots of love, Monty. Deuce.
So we will move on. We'll start with news, and we've had a couple of tough news stories to begin with. First up, we had WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Inoki passing away, one of the most historic figures of Japanese wrestling and probably one of the most respected men in sports entertainment and a legend in his homeland. He was born in Japan in 1943 and he found great success in New Japan, which he founded in 1972, using all the talents that came across from America and becoming one of the first stars from New Japan to go to America and have championship matches against the likes of Stan Hansen, Hulk Hogan, and of course many more. And maybe even more famously, in the Rare Wrestler versus Boxer match on June 26, 1976, he did face Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest to ever do it and a true icon. This will be a big miss for Japanese wrestling. Jaxie, he was the Vincent to New Japan, and it's weird they've both kind of, I say, gone the same year, but Antonio Inoki is a true legend in the business.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's such a shame to hear when anyone passes, really, but an icon such as Inoki, he will be missed. He'll forever be remembered. He's made history, as you've very well listed. He'll forever be loved, and his legacy will live on. There are a lot of people who were inspired by Inoki, and I have no doubt that we'll continue to see that throughout, budding wrestlers' careers, and just, the continued respect that everyone has for him. So my thoughts are with all of his family and his friends at this time, and just sending love out there to everyone.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there was another shocking, this was really shocking during the week as well, as former WWE winner Sarah Lee passed away at the age of 30. This was truly shocking because she has been ill for a while. Posted a picture on social media 2 days previously saying she was feeling better. Unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. She's married to former WWE star Corey Blake Weston and leaves behind several young children as well. Gina, at the age of 30, even if she's, because people on Twitter are just, asking, with WWE star, who was she? But anybody at the age of 30, that is just tragic.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I saw this actually on Instagram on Athena's page, and I didn't actually know who Sarah Lee was, but because I'm nosy and I saw Athena and did a post, I thought, oh, who is this? So I did look into it, and then I kind of cottoned on, realized who she was, and it's just devastating. So young, still got, a lot of life ahead of her. So again, it's just really, really sad to hear this, and my heart and thought goes out to all of her family and friends, because it's such a devastating time for them right now. And yeah, I'm hoping that everybody else and just everyone stays well and healthy and just look after yourselves.
Yeah, it really is a sad time at this moment. But we will move on. So we're going to talk about Japan, and we're going to look at the news before, of course, Royal Quest. And Kushida, who had left WWE, of course, early on in the year, returned, looked like he was going to fight for, of course, the light heavyweight title, but he's contacted hand, foot, and mouth disease, and he's going to miss, it seems now, a couple of months of action, which just sounds
Hand,
fucked up.
foot, and mouth disease.
Yeah.
All three. Is this one?
I think it's like hand, foot, and mouth, but unfortunately, it's all like I said. Yeah.
Wow. I'm hoping that he recovers soon. I'm gonna have to look into that because I don't think I've necessarily heard of like that being like a, yeah, I just need to look it up. But that's shocking to hear. I didn't realize that. I thought he'd only just returned healthy and well, you know?
Yes, well, like I said, it is a bit of a shame, and he is going to miss some action with New Japan. But someone that's not is returning superstar. Of course, one and only Kairi Sane is coming back into the field to become the very first IWGP Women's Champion. So, will Kairi Sane maybe get the chance to repeat what she did in the first ever Classic and win? Of course, we saw a qualifying round from that, and Kairi is, of course, grouped with the non-Japanese talents. That'll be interesting to see. So Kairi Sane coming back can only be a good thing as well.
Definitely. I mean, it's exciting. I saw it first pop up on her social media. It was really exciting to hear that she is returning, even if it's not to sort of American WWE or AEW content. It's just great to see her still wrestling in any promotion, you know?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And Japan, September 25th, we did have the New Japan Burning Spirit Tour, which wrapped up. And a couple of big things did happen in it. During the show, we saw White, Tama, and Hikuleo in the ring, with Jay encouraging Hikuleo to attack his brother, but Hikuleo opted to side with Tama and turn on Jay and the so it looks like blood is thicker than money. And that was after the Never Openweight Championship match with Carl Anderson defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi. And in the main event, the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, Will Ospreay defeated David Finlay in... and again, I don't want to be one of these guys that says, like, match of the year candidate, but this was fantastic as well. So if anybody does get a chance to go and watch it, Ospreay again delivering banger after banger after banger.
I do need to catch up on that. That's the only match I haven't watched from that, so thanks for the reminder.
Without doubt. Well, we also got a big show coming up as well on October 10th in a couple of days' time, which is Declaration of Power with Tama Tonga challenging Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But before that, of course, we had Royal Quest 2. But Royal Quest 2 was not airing on Fight TV. They said the show will be available to watch in New Japan World on demand in October. But, Jaxie, do you think they should give people the chance to actually kind of buy this event and watch it? Because there was a couple of cameras there that I did see, and obviously they're going to air it on New Japan World.
Yeah, definitely. I always think it's going to be a shame when there's times where different countries won't be able to kind of continue watching the same content that others are, you know. So I do feel like it was a missed opportunity here to have gained more viewership if they had actually released it on somewhere like Fight TV. Hopefully that's something that will get looked at going forward in the future, though, because as we've just rightly seen, like New Japan have definitely been making a lot more sort of prime TV appearances. So who knows what will happen going forward. I certainly will be very excited if, you know, we did get this on a regular sort of platform basis.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, you know, something that we want to rewatch because, of course, we were there for night 2, but night 1 was October 1st. And, of course, at the Crystal Palace Indoor Arena, which sounds a lot more fancier than it was, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. So night 1 results. We had Gabriel Kidd defeating Dan Maloney, Michael Oku and Ricky Knight Jr. defeating United Empire, which is great. And Gideon Gray. Abe Wright and Alex Windsor defeated Jazzy Gabert and Kanji. Tetsuya Naito Sanada and Hiromu Takahashi defeated Suzuki Gun, which was Zack Sabre Jr., El Desperado and Dookie. Chaos, which was Okada and Ishii, defeated Bad Dude Tito and Zack Knight. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Guerrilla Destiny defeated Bullet Club. Will Ospreay defeated Shota Umino. And in the main event, FTR, Cash Win and Dax Harwood defeated Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher. Now, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but obviously I think we all I would say all three of us would follow FTR, or especially Dax Hartwood on Twitter now, and he absolutely loved that match, that main event on Saturday night, which again just brings joy to me to think, you can come to the UK and actually put on like a 5-star match. I cannot wait to actually watch that match when it's available in New Japan.
Definitely. I mean, again, FTR are just a formidable team, so just watching them day in, day out, it would be just a highlight.
Yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt. And then night two was very special because it was, like we said, October the 2nd, and it was 2 very special birthdays as well. So we did travel there, and like the Clash, we're going to talk about a few things of how we. But of course, Jaxie, Gina, it was your birthday. So Jaxie, tell me if you please. Your birthday, as it was, how did you get there? What were you doing in the morning and the afternoon to prepare for it?
I mean, my sister and I were together as it was our birthday. So, we had a nice breakfast, started drinking early, and then jumped on a train to head straight there to meet you.
I was delayed in traffic. I'm not going to. It took me. It should only took about, I think, an hour and 15. And it took about 2 hours and 40. It was horrible on the roads.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really have that problem with the direction we were going in. London definitely had some tube strike. So from our point of view, we didn't have any issues getting there because where we were based, we didn't really have tube issues. So it did still take exactly the same time though, like an hour and 20 minutes. But we had left on time, so we didn't have any issues.
Yeah, they weren't too bad. And Gina,
I think it also helped that we were together and we were just so excited and half drunk already on the way to this trip. So we were quite hyped the whole trip there.
And the queues themselves, I mean, we are probably going to compare to the Clash a little bit. The queues, Gina, weren't really the same, were they,
I mean, no, I didn't make any friends this time around in terms of little kids just starting chats with them, asking their favorite wrestlers. It wasn't the same sort of vibe at Clash, but I also know that I didn't really wait in any queues. I kind of just walked on through like I owned the place.
Well, this is the thing. It was.
My birthday, okay. I had my crown on.
Well, this is the thing is, when I got there, it was like, oh, where are we? And it felt like I don't want to say it, like a primary school gymnasium or something like that. And I'm thinking, this is Crystal Palace Indoor Arena.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
It's my first time being in that arena, to be honest. So I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't exactly expecting some grand, lavish place, but I did kind of get that, high school basketball match type vibe from it. So
it definitely felt more intimate, I would say, and I kind of just felt like we were so much more closer than I expected to be. It was amazing.
Oh, about that, like I said, we kind of met straight on the doorstep. Well, actually, to be fair, I'd gone round the wrong way first and actually ended up at the exit and then walked myself round, met you guys at the front, and like I said, kind of just walked straight in. There wasn't that many people around. There was, quite a few kind of, and I say it was mainly people maybe looked like me, maybe, like I said, older kind of white guys, beards and bellies, but weren't too bad when we got in. And the seats themselves, because the setup, and obviously the videos and the pictures you can see on Twitter as well. Like I said, I think for like 2,000 people there, the setup looked really, really good. And the seats that we had, I think, probably the best seats in the house.
Definitely, you were kind of elevated to a point where we were able to see all of the wrestling, completely from like all angles. We also got a sort of like front facing and entrance point of view. So we were able to see them, entering out of the curtain. So for me, it was just a really surreal feeling of being there and feeling this close to them.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Like to talk about, that's the only thing with the Clash. Kind of, we did feel, even though we could see it, it felt far away. But these ones, if you shouted at someone, they could turn around and just like get you. You know, that's how simple it was. With that, like I said, perfect seats. I think one person behind me, but was an issue with anybody kind of standing up as well. And the atmosphere in itself, it was for, like I said, a small place. It did feel special as well, you know, because like I said with you, Gina, with the Clash, it's so big, but this, I think the noise was really impressive.
Oh, for sure. The noise was so loud. And again, I think it because it was a much smaller venue, maybe the noise just kind of, hit me more, I guess. I don't know. But everybody there was so loud and live. And it was so good because I could feel the energy coming from them. And I could see that energy being poured into the wrestlers. So that's why we had such a great time there as well, because every match was just hyped.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there's a question I got asked with someone asked me, well, a couple of people did as well. Why don't I make an effort when I go out to wrestling shows, which again I always appreciate. And my trick is when it comes to wrestling, no matter
what do you mean?
As in, why am I just kind of wearing a baggy white top and shorts? Which again, you know,
that there's.
Why not just go? But if you're going to be out somewhere, why not go dressed comfortably? Go dressed how you want to. No one should judge you for that.
Yeah, but some of the people on this podcast maybe. But again, I don't mind because this is the trick. As I always said, and Jaxie, you were right about this. Go comfortable because it's always hot and always sweaty in a wrestling event. And there's nothing worse than either carrying an extra jumper or just like this. I've been wearing shorts to wrestling shows for a very long time, and I'm very pleased with how it's gone so far. So that's people wondering why.
I think there's also there's a major difference. Like when we were at the Clash, the arena was so much more bigger that you could still get away with wearing, like a coat maybe or anything like that, especially if you were heading out anywhere. When you're in close proximity in a much smaller square footing area with a lot of people, I could definitely feel sort of the body heat all around, so you do get really, really hot in there.
And also there's the cover they had up to stop the sunlight in didn't work, so the sun was kind of hitting us. I mean, it didn't at the start of the show. It was, probably for about half hour, an hour or so, until it kind of went away. But again, with that, it's quite nice seeing the kind of day into night, and it felt you've been there for a little while as well. Gina, I asked you this question on the Clash. Price of the beer, price of the merch, the T-shirt. Was there much difference between WWE show?
Right. In terms of the ticket prices, yes, massive difference in prices. I'm really sad to report that I did not check any of the beer prices. I just went up every single time and just didn't even look at the reader machine and just swiped my card. So I'm not actually too sure because I was just drinking all day. I didn't actually check the prices. So to be honest, if I know about the beer prices for Clash and then New Japan, I wouldn't know if they're the same or if they were any different.
That was your response for the Clash, so I'm glad it's exactly the same.
That makes it sound so bad, doesn't it? Gosh, that Gina, she's been drunk at every event.
Get me a fucking beer, go on.
Okay, guys, they're special occasions, and I will try it. If we go for a third time, I will do my best to take more documentation. I will do that. I promise you guys, I will.
Just to say as well, it was our birthday that day, so we weren't paying attention to any prices. We were just it was one of those moments where it was it's our birthday. I just want to drink. I don't want to know how much I'm spending. So, and I'm pretty sure that goes across everyone's mind when it's their birthday and they're out drinking with friends and things. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to us. It also was, the fact that we were drinking beforehand. So going there, we were already kind of,
I wouldn't even say drunk, but I'd say we were quite merry. So we were just going up to the bar and just tapping it, Did I want to see my statement first thing the next day? No, I did not. So that wasn't fun.
Well, no, like I said, without doubt, and this is the thing about me as well when it comes to like even the wrestling event of like you talk about. I'm like that with merch. Like if I do get a chance, I will buy t-shirts and think to myself, well, you're only here at this point in time, kind of. And I was disappointed at the Clash that we kind of missed out on that, and kind of thing. I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't even see any merch.
What merch? No, do you know what? I don't think. No, there was. There was merch, and I went and had a look at it. However, I'm extremely disappointed to announce that by the time I got there, someone had taken all of the Yoka t-shirts, so I had no interest.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I have got a bit of good news about that though, and I will say this is what I've done. I've got you both as present, all right, and it's not Will Ospreay and Okada. I know you're both going to be disappointed about that.
Oh, I was just about to ask you a bit, Okada.
I apologise. I've let you down. But I have bought. I've managed because Rev Pro, and I will send you guys a link because Rev Pro now has New Japan stuff, and the prices aren't too bad. I shall
awesome.
say. But what I've done, I've bought 3 Royal Quest t-shirts like you were here in the date. So I've got them, and I'll give it to them, I guess, at some point.
Oh,
but
cool.
They're Christmas presents there.
Nice.
Like I said, I'll send you the link.
Nice. Thanks, James.
And if you want to buy me, like, I don't know, an honorary t-shirt, I'm not going to put any ideas in your head, but I did think of that. Speaking of t-shirts, I need that t-shirt if you go to Usos. Like, I need it.
Yeah, I mean, our honorary is, so... Definitely. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so like I said,
Monty a wise man once. He's our wise man.
Monty
is the wise man.
A fucking shitload of t-shirts. Like honestly, I just
Monty
get excited.
GMS. It should be the We Owe Monty show.
Yeah, it literally is. Yeah. But like I said, with the sizes that I'm not sure. But like you said, it is rude. Because this was someone else asked me as well. So, how old are Jaxie and Gina? And I said, you can't ask a woman her age. That's offensive. So I was going to ask how much you both weigh, just for the t-shirts. That'd work out better.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot more of a better question than the age.
Oh, that's only fair, But we'll move on. Like I said, we have got wrestling to talk about. So night 2, we are going to try and rack our brains to remember because a lot happened. It was a week ago. Maybe we should have taken notes, but I'm living in the moment. That's what we did that night.
I mean, that I definitely was not going to be taking notes with the type of matches that were coming up for us. There was no way. Especially because there was alcohol involved. There's no way to expect me to take notes.
Yeah, no, there was no chance for any of us. And the other thing I liked, and I don't know if we did it intentionally or not, but when we walked in to our seats, seats were great. We sat in our Clash order, which again, I think that's the order we in of all time now. Anywhere we go.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just naturally went that way, didn't it? And I'm not even mad at that.
It's really well sitting there. Oh look, we like the Clash, and then Gina tells me to shut the fuck up. Right, sorry, my bad. That's on me. So night 2, and we started with Suzuki Gun, El Desperado, and Dookie defeating Michael Oku and Robbie X. From what I can remember, the crowd was into it. There was a couple of young Rev Pro guys here in like Sudoku and X. We were just finding our feet with this one. I think it'd be fair to say, kind of getting into what the chance would be, But like I said, the crowd was hot from the start. I think it'd be fair to say, Jaxie.
Yeah, they really were. Right from the get-go, it just kind of definitely got my sort of adrenaline pumping for it. It was a really great opening match as well.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And then we had Los Ingobernables. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Monty's not here at me. Sanada and Hiromu Takahashi defeated Northwest Strong, which is Ethan Allen and Luke Jacob. Monty did ask for pictures of Sanada, which we did get, and of course Takahashi there. This, Gina, was a fun tag team match, which kind of set the tone for the night as well.
It was a really fun match, and I remember Monty would be proud. Was shouting at one point, "Sanada, Monty's partner really loves you." So Monty, I had your back there, I promise. But no, it did. It set the tone for a tag match. It got us all really hyped. I think at this point I had just got myself my first beer as well. I was ready for it, so it was so good. And just as James said, you know, the atmosphere was so loud, and you couldn't help. If anybody was sat there not vibing with this crowd, then you would have been crazy, because it was so infectious to be around everybody who was so hyped that if you didn't get hyped too, you should just left or not even come.
There was no one in the crowd that was kind of looking at anybody else. I mean, we did have the line in front of us, but I think that's another story. I mean, who does their hair in flexes? I'm just saying, Guy, you know who you are listening to this show now. But that was a really, really good way to start, and everybody there was enjoying themselves. And then we had Jaxie Gabert defeating Ava White. What I can remember from this, didn't they try to break each other's neck? Like, there was moments where I was going, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, there were a few sort of moments that were really, you know, from our point of view, we could see sort of the impact, like, you know, of them hitting the ring, the way they were hitting the ring. And there were two moments that stood out and what both moments were one from each person, sort of like the way that they landed during a specific move of either person's move, that it just looked really painful on the neck, you know. So I was really sort of enjoying the match, but at the same time there was a bit of concern for both sides on their health. I hope they're doing okay.
Yeah, without that, there was one submission as well, which was really, really weird. I think Gina hit me. I took a picture of it, but it's only because I'd never seen a submission quite like that before. But
yeah, sure, James, sure.
It was for document purposes. You know, I was just needed to take a picture to people. Well, maybe people haven't seen that. But we move on. And again, everybody just listening for Gina having a go at me, Will Ospreay was in action next. Wait till we get onto that in a little bit. So we had United Empire, Will Ospreay, Great Khan, Aussie Open, which was Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher, Gideon Gray, defeating FTR, of course, Cash and Dax, Shota Umino, Gabriel Kidd, and Ricky Knight Jr. And for me, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the first three matches, but this is when I was like, we're fucking in now. And I think the interaction, to see the FTR and sing along to the theme tune and only be such a small arena that you're basically on top of them. And like I said, where the seats were, it was from entrance, following them all the way to the ring. And because we were kind of where the hard camera was, they were talking to us some perfect shots of like United Empire kind of doing their signature and stuff like this as well. The same with FTR. And I don't know about you, Gina. You were obviously looking at Will about something else. But the speed of Will Ospreay, I've been lucky enough to see him before a few years ago. The speed he has in that ring is breathtaking. I actually took my breath away how good, how quick and fast he is now. It is incredible. It's like a flash in a wrestling ring, you know?
I definitely agree with you. I mean, not just for my own personal purposes, but I did find that I was always losing Will in the ring. Like, where's he gone now? Where's he gone now? Because he's like from one end to the other all the time. He's constantly on the move, and it was just such a great match. Like, I think this was like my favorite match of the whole night, if I'm truly honest, because not only did I have Will Ospreay and United Empire, which have become my favorite since I started watching New Japan, which has only been this summer. I love FTR, and again, like this whole match was just beginning to end. I didn't know whose side I wanted to be on. I actually wanted to get involved in the match myself. It was that lit. I just wanted to go down there and just be like, right, I'm your opponent too.
No, it was saying to see like FT open, but obviously our hero Great Khan. This was just a brilliant matchup with United Empire getting the win. Like Jackson, there was just so much to enjoy from this, and it felt like a big deal as well.
Yeah, there were so many hype moments. Whenever you're going to get a 6-man tag that involves FTR, you always know there's going to be some form of hype, but then pairing them off, like to team off against the likes of United Empire, as you said, it was just, it's a different kind of thing to watch someone like Will Ospreay in the ring live. And, you know, it was just really breathtaking to just watch such great teams right in front of you. So it was one of those moments, as I said, as Gina said, it was one of those sort of match of the nights because of just what you were witnessing live. Yeah, definitely a match I won't forget.
And this is the thing as well about seeing a show with, there's 2,000 people there, but the interactions between like, even like Gideon Gray's like a "fuck you Gideon" chant, you can hear the kind of the noises are all making at ringside. Yeah. It's, you know, I would say the Clash, like the Volta Sheamus match, we could hear everything, but this was everything all the time.
Exactly, and it just kind of makes you feel so much more involved, you know.
Yeah, that was without doubt, fantastic. Man tag there. 6-man tag team action next. Hiroshi Tanahashi with the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Hikuleo, who of course joined by his side, defeating Bullet Club, Jay White, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. And I have to apologise, I did there was one moment when Jay White was there and my shit at that, and Jaxie, you were trying to get a picture of his ass, was that right? And I think Gina was the only one when Jay White was making his entrance.
I like to think it was more just I was trying to take a picture of him and he just happened to turn around and the picture came out of me taking a picture of his ass. Am I mad at that? No, I'm not, but I can't blame timing. That's on Jay White, you know?
Yeah,
but you're just as bad as Jay. I mean, well, he timing. I mean, he does have a sexy back though, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I was unfortunate about the submission attempt. You talk about his back, his abs. You could just do your washing on them. It just, you know, like.
They are, right? Like, you want to say, that's just maybe the camera angle or something like that. But then when you see up close and you're like, okay, no, that's real life. You know, you've got to give him credit for whatever his workout routine is, because his abs are very, like, prominent, so you can see them. And that doesn't happen unless you put in the hard work, so.
But it's even the thing about this card as well, you know, and you go like, shit, we saw the Good Brothers. Like, I didn't even realise. Carl.
Yeah, it didn't really register that we were seeing the Good Brothers too until, like, you know, the match really kicked off and then you're seeing them individually in the ring and you're like, it was only sort of after the first 5 minutes I'm like, holy shit, I'm seeing the Good Brothers live right now as well, you know?
Really, really good stuff.
It was a lot to process, okay? It was a lot to process.
We did, like, it really was fun though, I tell you that. And of course, Tama Tonga got the win in this matchup. Of course, they're going to face off for the IWGP World Heavyweight title in just a couple of days. And then we had, this was brilliant. This is probably one of my favourite moments. Bad Dude Tito versus Kazukiya Okada. Now, let me set the scene for everybody, because I know Jaxie spoke about this a lot. And I just want to say it's one of my favourite. It was like a sitcom moment. So imagine Jaxie Gina going to get some beer before the match starts, and then suddenly Okada's making his entrance, and me and Gina are sitting there, and Gina turns to me and goes, "Where's that crazy bitch at?" I went, "What? She's with you, isn't she?" Nah. We look at Jaxie's empty seat. we look down at the arena and we see Jaxie proceeding to try to make her way into the ring. How nice was that security guard?
No, seriously, wait. Let me say, right. So we were getting chairs, and Jaxie just literally abandons me, like fully hightails it as soon as the Carter's music hits. So first of all, she's abandoned me to carry the drinks back. So I'm like, great. I can't even get my phone out as I'm walking back towards the seats to take pictures of Okada as I'm coming through. So I'm trying to get myself back to the seat, thinking this bitch is already back in the seat, screaming her lungs off. I get back to the seats, look at James and say, where the hell is this crazy bitch? I need to go for her, and she is leaping over people. Oh my god! She's right. I the back of some guy's head.
She did it. she said she was gonna, and she did.
I can explain what possessed me. I just heard that money drop, and nothing else was in the room but Okada. And I just thought, I'll just see what happens if I walk towards the ring right now. I managed to make it towards there, and then the security guard just clocked me, and I was just like, please, it's my birthday. And I got a leg up on the ramp, and then he was like, no, I will chuck you out right now. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
Oh,
so
geez.
I didn't get arrested, but I was close enough for him to hear me shouting how much I loved him, and that's what matters.
Jaxie, this is the thing I respect you, right? I respect you. You called your shot and you took it, all right?
I did. I called it. I was going to try. I said I would, and I stick to my word.
To be fair, I'm trying to remember. There was one moment as well, Gina. I think you had a point. You're climbing on a chair. I can't remember what match that was. Was that with Ospreay? It might have been one of the matches there because you went for it, and I was holding you at one point. But after the
it was the Ospreay.
Was it with Ospreay? Well, because at one moment I'm taking a picture like, oh, United Empire. And then Gina's on the shoulder of the guy in front of me, and I'm kind of like, no.
Yeah, it was almost like. I was worried she was actually just going to get up on his shoulders and take her top off and like throw it at Will Ospreay. I was really close to. I didn't even ask the guy if it was okay. I just kind of like leaned on him. I was kind of thinking that I was floating closer towards him. So I'm seeing this. I think he made the guy in front of you's day by even touching his shoulders, if I'm truly honest. So.
Yeah, you could have crowd surfed. Everybody would have been happy to surf you to the ring anyway, and we'll just been like, what?
But why didn't they do that for me with Okada? That's so unfair. Sit down.
I do want to thank. I did say thank yous earlier. I'd like to thank the security team and whoever was in charge of Crystal Palace Indoor Arena, because you really kind of saved. It could have turned a bit, bit nasty as it was, but you really did help us out.
Definitely, I'd like to thank you for your patience with us. I'd like to thank you for not arresting us multiple times when we tried to get backstage too. I really appreciate it.
We're going to get on. That's the story of all stories. So yeah, but there was a match. Okada beat a bad dude Tito. When you calm down, Jaxie, what was it like watching Okada wrestle in person? Because obviously it's a bucket list thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's one that I can tick off, and actually getting a chance to see him on my birthday just made it feel that much extra special. I'm not going to lie. If we're actually really talking about the wrestling that was in the match and me not actually dribbling the whole time watching him, first of all, he is unbelievably tall. Like, you see how tall he is compared to a lot of wrestlers in New Japan, but in person, especially with how close I was, he is really, really tall. And the wrestling that went on, it was extremely back and forth. Like, even I couldn't really predict the outcome because Tito gave it his all as well. There were some pretty hard-hitting moments where I really didn't think that Okada was going to kick out. Tito had some really great counters for some of the moves that Okada was setting up, and Okada just kept coming back and kept fighting. That's my man, my warrior, never backing down. Loved it. Very, very proud of him. This match overall, it was just great. It was so amazing to see live, and yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that I can repeat in my head and just like feel like I was still there.
Yeah, without that. And again, to be so close to the pictures that we all got, it's just special to see this kind of, generational talent. You talk about, people from the past being great wrestlers like Okada with the legacy that he's got, to be able to see him wrestle as well. Even for me, obviously, I wasn't trying to get him in my car, but to, kind of like you said, tick that off.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone wanted to just like look at my Instagram stories from that from when we were there, it was all a lot about the wrestling, but you could just see it for yourself how close you were, and like the type of wrestling that New Japan delivers just completely different, so it's on my highlights anyway if you go to my page as well. So if anyone wants to see it, just go to wrestling highlights on my highlights page.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, great stuff there without doubt. And next up, there was a match that was changed because it was going to be Tomohiro Ishii versus Jonah. But as the fans in front of us told me, because of the hurricane in Florida, he couldn't travel. So I decided to go to the toilet at this one point. A little bit of bonus footage for you guys as well. You had to walk down a couple of stairs to get to the male toilets, which kind of like, again, in like the gym changing area. I took a wrong turn. Luckily for me, I took a turn with this other fella. I turned to him and said, "You're lost, aren't you?" He said, "Yep." And I said, "So am I. Let's find it together." And us two we kind of walked in this weird area where there was like gym mats on the floor and managed to find our way selves back. I've never been so happy to see that ring in all my life. And then obviously trying to find where our seats were when we got back. Ishii was in the ring wrestling, so I turned to Gina and asked, "Who's Ishii wrestling?" She said, this is one of my favourite lines as well, "I don't know, but he's got a lovely smile." So that told me all I needed to know. Apparently it was Yuta Shu or someone like this. But Gina, to be fair, that match was banging though.
Person was. It was a really good match, but I to be fair, again, I'm a new fan of New Japan, so there's not a lot of people that I recognize off the bat right away. So don't be mad at me, people, for not knowing who he was. But he did have a really good smile. Like that's all I saw from the entrance all the way down, his smile. But it was a great match. Getting to see Ishii live. I mean, again, I loved Ishii's fights with Eddie Kingston, and I even said, I think when we were viewing some of those matches, like imagine being able to see that sort of match live and just see Ishii live. So I kind of got that a little bit, just not with Eddie Kingston. But it was so great. It really was. And even though you see it in person, you don't actually realize how many like hard hits Ishii can take, man. I was like, part of me at some point thought that he broke his back and he just stood straight back up. I was like, great. Like, that's just standard Ishii. I love it.
No, this was really, really good stuff. And again, anybody, will say, "Oh, great smile. What's that help?" I'd much rather have that than someone saying, "Oh, they had really good athletic ability." Like, how does that help me? I know this guy's got a good smile now. And, like, that's what I want. Different things about different wrestlers. Same thing, Jay White, how ripped he is.
A good smile stands out, A good smile stands out.
Jay White is ripped. That's what we know. Will Ospreay's got nice back. These are the little things that are interesting, like McIntyre's hair. We're going to talk about these things.
Okada has legs for days.
So, like I said, this is what it's not all about kind of this and that, because as I said about wrestling, at the end of the day, it is pissed off when I say it, but it's true. It's people in pants with baby oil pretending to, fight each other. It is professional wrestling, and it's different characters and different things and different mindsets as well. So stop taking it all so seriously. And that's what I love about New Japan and this show was the fact, yes, it was serious wrestling, but it was even like weird things, biting each other or the kind of referee. Even one pot, I don't know what match it was, might be this. We lost our shit for Red Shoes. Like, we noticed it was Red Shoes, the referee. So we were just kind of like chanting his name and having a chat with other people about that.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, That's what the wrestling.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people that were in attendance definitely must have been huge fans of the G1, and anyone that watched the G1 would know of Red Shoes, so it kind of only made sense to be, shouting out the love, especially when we get to see him live.
Yeah, without a doubt, like I said, really fun experience. Ishii managed to get the win, and then the main event was to determine the number one contender for the IWGP US Heavyweight title, and it was Tetsuya Naito defeating Zack Sabre Jr. And it is one of my favourite shots, picture that I managed to take during this when Zack Jr. is wrapping up Naito on the rope. It feels like it can touch you. It was how good it was. And even though Zack, obviously hometown boy, we were behind, and I think the crowd was behind Naito. And again, this was a really, really good matchup. And I think, Jaxie, fair to say it was the right main event,
Yeah, definitely. Both men went hard, and it was great to see Zack Sabre Jr., but you can't help but just kind of fall for Naito's character. You really get behind him. You really want to root for him and see him come out on top. So definitely a feel-good match to sort of end as the main event.
Yeah. Well, Gina, this was just really, really good, and the kind of technical way, and when you see the arm kind of bent and snapped that way, you wonder how can they actually do that.
Oh, for sure. I definitely know that my arm would be broken in countless many ways just from half of the bends that they did in that match. But still, it just went hard. And respect to all of the wrestlers, because it may not have been the biggest venue or the biggest crowd ever, but we all gave it our all as fans, and they gave it their all as wrestlers, and that's a lot that I can respect.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, really, really good main event and a great show overall. Like I said, the wrestling there, it was 3 hours on the dot. Started at 4:30, finished, I think about bang on 7:30, maybe a little bit after. I weren't sure if we were going to have an intermission, but we never did. But like I said, for the 8 matches that we saw, really, really good stuff. Jaxie, what was your overall thought of the show? And what was your match of the night? And who was your MVP, actually, of the event?
I think the whole show was just incredible. It was, for me, one of the best birthdays I've ever had. Highly just exhilarating, and just you got into every single match. So for me, it was just great. Of course, I'm going to choose Okada's match as my match of the night. I really just kind of lost my share. I thought it was really good, and as much as I'm an Okada fan, it was a sort of touch and go moment on whether or not I really believed that he was going to win it. So I felt like it was a great match for Tito as well. I'd say for MVP of the night, I'm probably going to go with Will Ospreay, because he's just so exciting and just commands your attention when he's in the ring. And he was just exhilarating to watch. Half of the moves he did was just incredible to see sort of for yourself live. So I'm going to give him an MVP.
Yeah, excellent stuff. What about you? Your match of the night, are you still sticking with the United Empire, the 10-man tag?
Yeah, I was going to say the 10-man tag is definitely my match of the night. But as my sister said, the whole card itself was so lit beginning to end. So every match was really, really good. But the 10-man tag, I mean, it was my birthday. So what more could I ask for in seeing United Empire and FTR, especially in the same match? So they have to have my favorite. And Will Ospreay is my MVP as well. he was just so good just to watch beginning to end, how fast he was. He's like the Flash. I'm going to call him the Flash now. That's my nickname.
Yeah, like I said, it was extraordinary stuff. I think the match for me, the Ishii match, was really surprising because it was really, really hard hitting. But I had to save myself from not sounding like a massive knobhead when the guys behind us were saying about the Ishii match, "Oh, this is as tough as the Sheamus Walter match at the Clash." And I held myself, but I nearly turned around and said, "Oh yeah, I was there for both." But I didn't, you see, because I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I was there for both, and they were both mental matches, don't get me wrong. The Ishii match was great. My MVP of the night is Ishii because of that very moment. But for ranking, the thing about this, and I don't know if you both agree as well, this felt different to the Clash in a good way, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I can't really compare the two because they're very, very different, you know?
Yeah, it is. I think the biggest difference being that it just kind of felt a lot more intimate with New Japan, and especially in the arena that we were in. It makes you feel a lot more involved in the content that you're seeing up there live. It doesn't take away the experience of seeing WWE live. I mean, I lost my shit at Okada the same way I lost my shit at seeing Asuka and Roman Reigns. So, you know, there's not a difference in that sense, but there's a difference in sort of the adrenaline that you get, because you know that a lot of your hackles when we were at New Japan could have potentially been heard by the wrestlers. You're that close to them. So, yeah, there's a difference in your sort of like adrenaline, I would say. Not in not taking any difference from which product you're watching. It's actually just kind of like in the moment, you know.
I think about that. Gina, what about you? What did you? Because I can't really compare the two, because then again, it's like this is like our first meeting at the Clash, which felt like kind of just say added pressure to it. But I think the second time round was just like, oh, that kind of nerves are gone. Let's just enjoy the show now, you know.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think like I enjoyed both experiences in very different ways, but I think that's because they had different meanings. Going to the Clash in Cardiff was a very nostalgic feeling because me and Jaxie's very first live wrestling experience was when we were first 18 years old, and it was in Cardiff, you know? So for us, it was like going back and getting those nostalgia feels. The event itself was great as well, but going to this New Japan event, which is a complete different sort of venue and wrestling company in itself, let alone with my twin and our podcast member on our birthday. Again, they both held very different meanings, and I enjoyed both of them. I definitely felt like I was more able to let loose at the New Japan event. Again, I think that's because the Clash was our very first meeting as a group in person. So I want to say I was trying to be on my best behavior, but I do know that G mode crept out a little bit towards the end. But sadly, James, you did get to see G mode in full effect at points throughout my birthday night. But it was still positive. It was all positive experiences, you know?
Well, this is the thing. It's not, you know, and again, it's the case of, it's not, it wouldn't be like the third wheel, because obviously you can tell the way, like I said, you two are, that relationship, and then your birthday and stuff. But it felt special just kind of like even witness it, and then even kind of be like a part of it. You know, it's just like, fucking hell, like this is crazy. And like I said, what happened after the show, because like with the Clash was just kind of, we all went out, kind of went home. But I mean, you two, I mean, were fucking, I mean, Jaxie, to be fair, you wanted to see Okada again. That was your goal. I think that'd be fair to say.
I was determined. I was definitely determined. I knew he hadn't left yet, and I was determined to see if I could, you know, meet him and somehow control myself.
And obviously, Gina wanted to write Will a letter. I'll let her go into the details of what the letter said, but I don't know if you ever sent that to him. But it was really weird because we kind of went down, spoke to a couple of security guys. You know, one of the security yeah, I live next door to Will. We're best mates. And it's like, okay, sort out meeting. I said, oh no, I've not spoken to him in 2 years or whatever the fuck it is, like, but again, that's fine. And I realised, and I don't know if you two did as we walked down, that I thought, we're ringside. But not only were we ringside, but like we're actually on the entrance ramp, so where they came out. And I've taken a couple of pictures of it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of turned around and I was like, whilst you two were talking to a couple of security guards, I'm like, I'm going to take a couple of pictures here. Like, I'm waiting for the hand on the shoulder. But whilst I'm here, just get a couple of... and we weren't sure where we're going to meet, so we kind of went outside. There was a lovely moment. I will say there was a guy there whilst you two went to the toilet, and he was on his own, and he must have been, maybe a few years younger than me, and he said to me, "Oh, are you trying to meet the wrestlers?" And I said, "Yeah, well, of course, they kind of want to impregnate them, but we're gonna try and meet them, if we get the chance." And he said, "Oh, do you mind if..." I said, "No problem, mate." I said, "Follow us. I mean, from a distance because you're not part of the podcast, but, follow us away, and hopefully we'll be able to find out." So as we kind of went out the front, speaking to a couple of security guards, again, nice enough guys. Obviously, it's been a long day. We were asked some questions about where the talent would be, and the guy pretty much said, "Look, they're not going to come out the front door," even though we had been there for about 20 minutes at that point. And Jaxie, I know you weren't happy at that moment in time. Gina, you were devastated. There's no doubt.
I mean, it felt like we had wasted our time at this point, and I was like, well, could you not have mentioned this a little bit sooner so that we're not standing out here like pricks?
Yeah.
I was literally about to drop to the floor and just start crying tears, like a Disney moment,
Yeah, well, there was a moment. The only time I thought we were in trouble is when you, I think Jaxie rang your mum and just said, make sure you know where we are at this point because we might not be there later. If get arrested.
No, I think that was my dad. I rang. Yeah, I rang my dad.
Right, good. Well, yeah. I wasn't sure.
Well, I'd rather be truthful with him because, let's be honest, if I was to be arrested, he would be the first person to be called. So might as well tell him the potential news that his daughter is being arrested for not leaving a sports arena, and best it come from me first and foremost. And the only thing he said to me was, just try not to get caught. And I was like, okay, thanks, Dad. Good advice.
Do you know what? I would have loved forever if he just said, protect James. If he'd have said, look, I don't mind what you guys do.
I mean, he could have said that. I didn't really give him enough time, to be honest.
No, but that's the point I thought we're going to end up in prison here. But at that point, and if anybody remembers what I said about 40 minutes ago on this very podcast, that when we first got to the show, I'd gone to the back exit, as it was, the back exit. And I just said to him at this point, I said, look, why don't we just try go down these stairs to see if any wrestler, probably not, is going to come out the back. That's when, again, if I get it wrong, Jaxie, you did your Blair Witch Project video to Monty saying, like...
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah. I started to do a video to complain to Monty that we were not successful at seeing any of the wrestlers, and then I lost my shit, so I had to cut that shit short.
Because, Gina, I'll let you tell the people listening at home who will not believe this. Who was standing, as we got down the stairs, who was there with, and I would say if there were a dozen people, it'd probably be too many, Who was there? Who did we meet?
It was none other than Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler of FTR.
Even saying that is fucking...
Jaxie moved faster than Will Ospreay. She was gone.
Well, I mean, can you blame me? I thought they were leaving.
You need a camera crew on you next time, sis.
They were standing there with a couple of people, and like I said, to come along. Do you remember what the first thing you said to him was? Or do you? Can I do.
It's my birthday. Just to get them to stay a bit longer and take a picture with me. So I thought I'd entice them, and I thought if they heard it was my birthday, they'd take pity.
And did they?
They did indeed. They are such nice guys. They are so kind, unbelievably humble. Like I could actually see just myself wanting to be best friends with them. Seriously, like they were just so kind. You know, I expected to just kind of stand next to them and then get a picture with them, but nope, they put their arms around us. You know, Dax was leaning in. Like it just really felt like, oh my gosh, I don't know. You know, when you actually feel like you're having an out of body moment, like just kind of watching yourself, like and trying to actually tell yourself, this is actually happening. You're actually touching like FDR right now and having a picture with them on your birthday. They're actually, and the thing is, as soon as they heard it was our birthday, the first thing that Dax said before a photo was even taken was, wait, what are your names? So he even took the time out to like ask us our names. And it was just like so incredible to know that they actually just wanted to know that. It was the best experience ever. Seriously.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking cool, I will admit, to seeing it. I mean, and we chatted with them. We chatted with them for about 15 minutes. Because if you look at this, it's historic now as well. Because you follow Dax on social media, he's asking anybody to get a lift to Heathrow. And that's why they were stuck there.
Damn it. Do you know what? I wish that I had a car and I was driving, because I would have totally taken them to Heathrow if that was the case. I was so gutted that I couldn't actually even offer that.
Well, Gina, you were offering everything.
I mean, at this point, he was on Uber looking for an Uber for him.
They're like personal secretary. Like, wait, I'm on it. I'm talking with someone right now on chat and trying to find two drivers. Oh my gosh. I definitely offered maybe a few other things.
But they did say, I mean, Gina, what were your thoughts on, like, I'm trying to put this in perspective, you know, even for people who I've talked to since, about arguably they were the biggest known talent on the show. Now, I know people are going, well, Jay White's a champion and Okada, but when you think about American audiences, what they've achieved in the NXT, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, of course, AAA Tag Team Champions, Ring of Honor, and obviously New Japan now, it's just like, if I could pick a talent, to me, it would, I wouldn't even put their names forward, because I thought there'd be no chance, you know? Like, it was just crazy. I mean, Gina, what were your experience of kind of meeting them? And like I said, they were lovely. That even, like, Cash was just saying you guys' names as well, and just, like, he was a sweetheart. Dax kind of knew his own shit, which I kind of liked. But like I said, Cash was, I mean, he even let me talk shit to him about kind of wrestling and how you wrestle as a tag team, and he's one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, and I'm the fucker telling him. You know, that's how nice he was.
I mean, definitely. Cash was so nice. I was talking to him about wrestling, about life, about almost everything. I squeezed so much into a conversation with him. I feel so sorry. He probably was like, how many conversations are we having at once? But I was talking to him a lot. I'm not going to lie. I found myself flirting with him, and I wasn't doing it on purpose, but like, I felt there was chemistry, guys.
No,
I really felt there was chemistry.
Gina, I'm your fucking wingman, all right? Like, there would be nothing better in the entire world. I was going, she's available tonight, Cash, go on, take her. She's easy, go on, like, you know. Especially when he's talking about legacies and wrestling. Go, fucking start one. Go on.
I think actually Jaxie mentioned that was talking with Dax about his daughter and the legacy, his carrying his legacy. And Cash, I don't know what it was. I can't remember what he said, but he was like, I don't have any like legacies, or yeah.
Well, I don't have any kids yet or anything like that. And I just stood in front of Gina like, Gina, don't you dare stand back.
I
Sam
was like, yeah,
sound.
go on. I was like, she's ready.
I was like, shit, G-mode might be out. I best just kind of, put myself in the way there.
Oh, but you possibly stopped a relationship forming there.
But
That's fine to be upset with you.
the next
I
FTR
mean,
match,
again,
we could have VIP seats. We could have been there hosting a
I mean,
podcast live.
Yeah.
it is very true, but I also probably was aware that they are probably really tired and wanted to hurry up and get to the airport and
I
not
was
miss their flight.
looking for a driver for them.
I
Multitask.
Whilst you find them a driver, it's great.
Jaxie,
Yeah.
you asked him about gaming as well, weren't you? You managed to get a question in there.
Mario Kart. He said about Mario Kart, but I mean, to be fair, like, as a wrestler, like, most of them don't find time for gaming, and if they've not been original gamers themselves, then you don't expect them to. It was just a genuine question, just out of a curiosity, so I wasn't, disappointed to hear that, like they're not very much into gaming at all. They knew of games, obviously. We were still having a conversation about Mario Kart and everything like that. So yeah, it was just fun. They were so humble. They were completely themselves, and it just felt so lovely to kind of talk with them on that sort of level.
Yeah, I had to go at a kid because I think they laughed when he said like Link's a boy, and he was like, oh no, it's a girl, and I was like
Yeah, no, because he thought Link's was Zelda, and you're like,
Zelda, that's it. Yeah, and I just said,
but a lot of people know of the game Zelda, and then they see Link as the main face for Zelda. So anyone that doesn't actually play the game are not going to make the connection that that's someone called Link and not Zelda, So I think at that point I got a little bit defensive as well, and I was like, well, if you haven't played it, then you're not going to know, are you?
He's fucking trying, isn't he?
But I was like, don't laugh at Cash Wheeler.
Yeah, no, fuck you guys. Like, no, but like I said, I managed to meet him and that, and there was a hilarious moment. And Jackson, I don't know if you've realised it, but there was one moment where you're talking to FTR, and there was a chant that started, and we look round on the stairs, and it's actually a Okada on the stairs.
I can't believe it, Monty. I lost my shit. I lost all my cool. And I was just shouting at him, I love you. Like, it was proper shouting at him. Like, I was declaring it, like, right in front of FTR and everyone. Like, they probably thought I went from, like, 10 to 100 in the space of 2 seconds, like, seeing me switch. But, like, I literally lost it. I'm so lucky that my legs didn't start moving, because of, like, I was scared that if I moved one step, I was tackling this man to the ground. So I'm glad that I did not move. I stood there. I did not move.
It reminded me of like the old prison lights where you have to stop kind of right on the spot, and that's what I kind of did, and realised if he came down further, it'd be like a life or death situation.
I don't think he wanted to come here just out of sheer fear that he saw in me, because he was like, this girl will eat me alive if I get anywhere near her. I'm just going to get on this bus right now and get going before I actually don't come back.
You punked out the greatest wrestler of all time.
Guys, I failed at appearing cool in front of Okada, guys. I lost my chance. I'm so gutted.
And
I didn't know I had it in the first place.
But the thing is about as well, and obviously the thing is coming around at that time, come around earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, we might have seen a couple other wrestlers, whether it was, but we wouldn't have had that experience that we did with kind of FCR, because they were even hanging around when people kind of, they've got the stuff signed and they're still there, and they're like, yeah, well, so like that type of thing.
Exactly.
There was another funny moment with Zack Sabre Jr., who came down. I shook his hand, and he had a limp handshake. But again, he only doing that. No, in all seriousness. But I don't think he wanted to be tested. Some wrestlers and boxers don't like to shake hands because you kind of, the rough handshake. Even though with FTR it was, proper ones. With Zack it was like a little bit that. But the funniest thing is like Gina getting a picture and just not giving a fuck, you know, and going, I don't give a fuck. You ain't Will Ospreay. You ain't fucking Will. You will be.
No, but I think it was more the attitude that Zach had as well. He just gave us resting bitch face in all of his pictures. So, like, I mean, that's Zach, though. The type of attitude he has in wrestling as well just came across like when we met him. And, you know, fair play to him if he decided, yeah, I'll stay in character and just be a prick. But, like, he was still enjoyable and he still wished us a happy birthday. So there's nothing else better than that, really.
No, it was.
Definitely. But meeting FTR was probably a bit more exciting for me, especially because I got to hug like Cash like 5 times. I probably overused my hug count, but I thought, fuck it, it's my birthday. It's my birthday, and I'm actually wrapping my arms around Cash Wheeler.
But
I'm gonna do it.
This is the thing, like the meet and greet that they had early in the day. I don't think FTR were involved. They were charging £230 for a ticket to go around and get an autograph and like a handshake and a 2-minute chat with each wrestler. And what we had was kind of priceless because yes, we had that kind of wrestling event as it was, but that experience with FTR is going to live with us forever. And especially being on both yours birthdays, it's like, this is what my panic was. How the fuck can we top that? Like, it was perfect, you know?
Exactly. That it was just like the complete perfect day, perfect evening. One of the best experiences of my life. So it's just something that we'll definitely never forget.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome.
I'm definitely grateful we got to do this on our birthday. I'm also grateful that my sister's partner wasn't with us because I definitely think he would have felt left out with her obsession over Okada on that night. So it's definitely lucky he didn't come.
Rooting for me. He asked me, he texted me saying, did you meet him? Or like, don't headbutt anyone, you know, that sort of thing. So, you know, he was definitely totally on my side.
Sure.
Well, you know, this has been a case if AEW comes to England next year, if Gina is not making a run for Ricky Starks when we go there, I'm going to be like, you never really liked him.
No, I'm not going to watch AEW live. I will not hold back. I'm not going to watch them live. I can't.
Yeah, I don't think we should trust her. Either that, or we're gonna have to like actually put a leash on her, James, and make sure that she does not actually interrupt in the match. That will happen.
I was so close to dry humping Cash Wheeler, let alone Ricky Starks. I'm sorry. I cannot go to an AEW event if he's there. I really cannot. I actually even said to Jaxie at one point, if the three of us ever got to go to a backstage event and meet wrestlers, I would not be able to speak to Ricky Starks. I'd have to turn around and walk away. Honest to God, I won't. I'd probably throw up on his feet.
Yeah, I genuinely think that would happen. I don't think that she'd be able to handle her shit, and I think that she would rather not embarrass herself, and I think that if she was face to face with him, she wouldn't even say anything. She would just walk off.
But this is the thing, usually I'm quite, you know, starstruck of wrestlers, but I don't know if it was just kind of the energy or the way you two were, but it was just like, yeah, I'm cool, man. You know what I mean? I was like, even to Dax was like, yeah, you the fucking man, you know? Like, yeah. It's like, I would never, ever, I'll just stand silently go, fucking FTR's there. But instead it was more like, you know, hey. I mean, you two were like bouncing around like pinballs, but again.
What do you expect, though? I mean, it was FTR, like, I mean, to be honest, I think if we were in that same sort of close intimacy setting, for WWE or even AEW, the way we were with New Japan, I think I would have been exactly the same way. So I think that the closer we are, the more confidence that my sister and I get in thinking we deserve to meet these people and just decide to take it into our own hands, you know?
But we did.
There's nothing.
I mean, that I said we did. The whole, like, if you look at like, the Clash is one of these events where you can go, you know, it's WWE's biggest stadium show, 30 years. Okay, that makes sense of us going, especially when, like I said, 2 years on the pod and the EF Gina. Oh, we've been looking at WWE stuff. But this New Japan stuff, that, start of the year. And it is really weird because it's the circumstances of everyone being together at that moment in time with kind of Monty as well, teaching about New Japan, the event being a month after the Clash. We wouldn't have gone to this if the kind of podcast wasn't a thing, even if if it wasn't for looking at the Japan stuff, meeting up there and the event itself, but even the kind of how we are as a group, or especially, like I said, you two there, to have that will, determination, the passion and the excitement to not give up. We could have left out at the front and just gone, fuck it, but we tried. And
perseverance is key, and it paid off, James.
It really fucking did. I mean, that's a night that none of us are ever going to forget, and I'm just grateful that I got to experience that with not just my sister, but also yourself as well. Well, when you two are arguing in like 20 years' time about, do you remember me kissing Dax or whatever it was? And I'll be like, no, that actually didn't happen. Like, I was there.
Yeah, you can just correct my view on what I thought went down. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Every story, I'm just gonna probably add on to it every single time. So
it will be like, then we drove FTR to Heathrow and they took us to America and we defended tag team titles with them on their first night.
But we were in camo gear, so you couldn't see us. We were invisible to the eye.
Jaxie and Gina were Ring of Honor champions for 6 months, and then they had to leave and all this kind of stuff.
Imagine.
But yeah, like I said, that is a very special place. If McIntyre had won the title at Clash, you'd be looking at a kind of different level for me with that. But with this show, it's like I said, I wouldn't have changed, because even like when we met up and we were just straight into it. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to spend a bit of time kind of, even with each other, getting to know each other and having a chat, but it was just like boom, boom, boom. And then it was crazy. Like I said, it flew by, and I would suggest to anybody, anybody listening, who are thinking about, even local shows where, but it would be with 100 people, wherever it is, the wrestlers you may see there might one day end up in kind of bigger events. Atmosphere and the way you can interact with the wrestlers is so worthwhile, and there's no doubt the next time I think New Japan come back to England, if they do it like kind of next year, it's something we look at, and depending on where we are and what's going on, it's something that we're definitely going to be discussing,
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely try and check it out where you can.
Yes,
for sure.
It was brilliant. Anything else, Gina? Anything else on the trip? Like I said, I cannot believe it was your guys' birthday as well, and it actually worked out. Like, I'm so pleased to kind of have, to have a part in it, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, what better way not only to enjoy wrestling live, but again, to do it alongside yourself, where we've done this podcast for, couple of years now. It was just a really great experience overall. It's just a birthday that both of us won't forget.
Yeah, like I said, really, really good stuff. Gina?
Yeah, it was definitely an experience. There were so many people as well who actually, I'll give a shout out at the castle. They truly were wishing us happy birthday because we were screaming it from the top of our lungs. So there were people, queuing up for beers who wished us happy birthday. Everyone was just so nice, and it was just such a good experience. And like you said earlier, James, it was just priceless, the whole thing. And I don't know how we're going to top that next year.
No, I have no clue what we're going to do. And also, there's been, like I said, I know there'll be interest in both of you. Like I said, with what you bring to the table. I know people have been asking if you do a podcast, and the answer is yes. Maybe listen to it, but hey, don't want to be that guy. You have been doing it years, I'm just saying. But I know whatever you want to do and are going to do in the future, whether that'll be together, as in the three of us, will it be the two, or anything else, either wrestling related or not, it is going to be a success because, like you said, it's the passion and the drive and the determination. And I just hope both of you remember me when one's married to cash and the other one's successful, writer in WWE. You remember where, you had this moment with me, so maybe give me free tickets.
Of course. I mean,
James, you're on a news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you're always going to be there, but thank you, and we appreciate it. I mean, again, there's not actually any plans for us to go on and do something on our own at the moment. If we do, you guys will hear about it, but at the moment, I think we're both happy with what we're currently doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on, and it's weird, and again, I don't want to be reflecting it like it's kind of an end of something, but even with what happened with Dan, and again, this is going to sound horrible, but when you're living or when you're in that moment and you think of how good it is, like I said, with the Clash and with the Japan trip and where it is at the moment, I will be looking back in years to come and thinking, fucking hell, that was when it was kind of not even at its best, because we will improve together and stuff like this. But to have those moments, it might take a few years to kind of look back on and think, wow, we actually did that at that time. Because, to go to a New Japan event is one thing, to meet FTR, to see the wrestlers that we have done, and even with the kind of clash with the Sheamus and Walter match, that will live forever as well. Like I said, with legacies there. I think it's going to be, like I said, really, really good. And I'm glad, like I said, we did it together. The only disappointment is that Monty wasn't with us. But maybe, like I said, one day we can either go to America or he comes over here and we can see a show together,
Definitely. I mean, there is always sort of that longing and hoping that one day we will get to see a wrestling event in America. And, regardless as to whether or not that's years down the line or not, and whether or not we are all still doing this WNR podcast, if you damn well know that if we are going to do an event in America, we will end up doing it with Monty. So there will be always a hope to do a reunion and a meetup of Monty for the first time in person. That will always be sort of a goal.
Yeah, I think without that, and I think if we look ahead, I think an AEW show coming to the UK is another, because like we said, we see WWE, New Japan, AEW makes sense, but also seeing the Usos and of course the Honorary Us, if they do come to the O2 or whether they tour next year, we might even get Clash at the Castle too. We don't know, but like I said, at the moment, I think I'm just going to enjoy it rather than kind of worrying or trying to plan what's next. Because, like I said, when you go with the flow, you meet FTR. So I'm just saying.
You can't go wrong with that.
We're out of doubt. So it's been fun talking about Japan, but we will do quickly, like I said, as we release this podcast. Extreme Rules is just a couple of hours away. Jaxie, what are your thoughts? We'll just do it quickly. Thoughts on Raw and SmackDown leading up to Extreme Rules, because we'll run through the card. The card doesn't look too bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to say that ever since there's been sort of a change in management, content has really picked up on both Raw and SmackDown. So there has been a lot more reason behind wanting to watch the product. And it's actually been exciting. There's been some returns. There's been some unexpected returns. There's just excitement coming from every corner and every aspect of wrestling right now, whether or not that's WWE or AEW. Especially with the content we're getting from WWE, I must say I'm a lot happier at seeing not just, some of my favorites get sort of the recognition they deserve, but also getting a chance at seeing a lot of returns of people who I felt deserved a lot more better treatment within the company. So there's a level of excitement in me and anticipation for what's to come from WWE. And I think, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I think with a shadow of a doubt. We usually do Raw SmackDown notes, but we're just going to go on to predictions. But first, Gina, I want to speak to you about my favourite segment this month in WWE television, and possibly in a very long time, because I'm starting to love Sami Zayn more and more because I can relate to him. I know what it's like to be an honorary use, and for me on SmackDown, when Zayn was told by Roman to take off the top, which of course was ripped off by Jey Uso, Roman asking why you're doing that for, why you're wearing it, wear this top instead, and say honorary use. I don't think in a segment that I've been kind of happy, sad, shocked, upset, worried, angry, and then finally just kind of jubilation with Zayn being accepted in the bloodline.
Yeah, do you know what? Even when I was watching that, I had Jax in my ear. We usually watch Raw and SmackDown together, but via online. So we speak to each other in our ear, and that segment was so hard to watch. I'm all for the bloodline, and I'm always on their side. But seeing Sami Zayn get kind of like a little bit bullied, or what I thought was bullying, it broke my heart. I thought I would see my little boy getting bullied, and I just wanted to do something to protect him, And then when Jay ripped it off, I just thought, this is killing me. I have to turn it off. And then as soon as he gave him the fresh T-shirt, like the joy I felt, like definitely glad that no one was listening to my commentary, because it would have been so mixed. But it was such a good storyline, and they've just done so well with Sami Zayn's character and where they've brought him from where he started with this kind of character storyline. I am loving it so much, even to the point where last night's SmackDown, which I've recently just caught up on, it was so funny. Again, all about Sami Zayn and being the honorary Uso. And it makes me laugh because, like you say, James, in saying that you can relate to Sami, I definitely can relate to the Usos. As soon as Jay was going off at Logan Paul, screaming at him, and his brother is just trying to hold him back. That's me and Jaxie. Someone's going to set her off, and I'm the one just trying to yank on her T-shirt, yank her jeans, get back, bitch, get back, calm down. So I can totally relate with it, and the storyline has just gone so well. I'm excited to see this match more and more because of Sami Zayn, and he's not even involved.
I love Sami. Like I said, the storyline just makes me laugh because, yeah, it's so relatable. Especially, well, then again, I haven't got. I don't know what I'd be like if either you, or like I said, Jaxie were there just constantly berating me all the time. But I'll probably get used to it, it's not too bad. But like I said, this has been fantastic stuff. And even Reigns now saying to Sami, like I said on SmackDown, it's your responsibility to look after Jay, loudmouth Jay, and even Jimmy with the New Day kind of mocking them, is again another brilliant kind of little bit of story. And like I said, Raw and SmackDown has been good leading up to Extreme Rules, and Extreme Rules is packed. And believe it or not, every match on the card is a stipulation, which makes sense. We're going to give predictions now. We'll start with Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Jaxie, which way do you see this going?
All right, this feud between Liv and Ronda is kind of been a bit up and down for me. But I have to give Liv a bit of credit for over the past couple of weeks. She's been really kind of showing that she's not backing down just because her opponent is Ronda Rousey. She wants to show that she's tough enough. And I think over the past couple of weeks there has been a lot more decent content between the two. However, I Liv. If you thought challenging Ronda to an Extreme Rules match was going to be in your favor, I think you're sorely mistaken. And I just think that, putting the most dangerous woman on the planet, with the exception of giving her now use of weapons freely, you're not coming out of this as the champion. I'm sorry. I do see this going back to Ronda. I think Liv and Ronda will have a decent match. I do think that we will get a decent match between the two of them, but I do see Ronda coming out on top. I do see us getting a new champion called out, and I do see a potential feud going down the line of Ronda and Shayna. So yeah, I think this is a bit of a short-lived run for Liv, unfortunately. But I mean, when you're up against someone like Ronda Rousey, you can beat her a third time in a row. I don't think that, like, not Ronda. No, the first two times she actually beat Ronda were kind of flukes anyway. So it's like you're running out of options here, Liv. So we'll see how it goes, though.
Yeah, I think about that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I agree with everything Jaxie said, and I'm going with Ronda for the win. It's not that I don't have that like for Liv, I do, but just in realistically, just coming not looking at them both together, you cannot say that you think Liv is going to win a third time over Ronda. She's not. So Ronda's definitely got this in the bag.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I've gone for, and it's a very touchy subject, because I think Liv is going to retain, but I think she is because of the return of Charlotte. Now, I know you don't hear of Charlotte returning, but if Charlotte returns...
Interesting.
I don't think Ronda needs...
I didn't think of that.
I don't think Ronda needs the championship right now. And then I think Charlotte coming back costing Ronda. You can have Liv continue as the women's champ, and you can have Charlotte versus Ronda at a pay-per-view. You don't need the championship for that, because if that's the case, or if Charlotte does come back, then she probably will win a title at some point, which is a little bit shame. Monty has also gone Liv as well, which is very, very interesting. He said that he's going to trust his instincts. It's a tight card, so a lot can go wrong. This card was very hard for him. Up next, we have got Fight Pit, which should be a great match between Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. And it's funny because on Raw, Matt Riddle said, "I am going to straight up kill you," which you don't get in a lot of wrestling matches. Gina, which way do you see the Fight Pit going?
Oh, this is really difficult, this one. I I'm still oohing and ahhing about it. I really don't know, because I feel like Matt Riddle needs to get the win over Seth on this one. But I can still see them trying to drag this out even longer. My gut says Matt's going to win, so I'm going to go with Matt Riddle. But I do still see some sort of tomfoolery happening here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But the only thing I'm not sure about is they've announced Lashley versus Rollins for the next night on Raw. So how beat up can Seth get? But then again, it might work in a different way of if he does lose to Riddle, then, win the US title possibly to make up for it. I know that doesn't help you, Jaxie, with your pick.
Again, I think I actually went with Matt Riddle winning, but I actually went with Matt Riddle winning because, so I can just picture it now, right? You've got what's the special guest referee? Is it Daniel Cormier? Yeah. I can already see Seth chatting shit to him, just chatting shit throughout the whole match to Daniel, and I feel like he's gonna get in his face during the match. I feel like Daniel is gonna either KO him or just at least push him back, hit him or something, which will then give Riddle the advantage to press on with maybe his finishing move and then pick up the win that way. And I think eventually it would then lead to maybe Daniel Cormier having a match against Seth. But I just see Seth talking a lot of shit to the ref. Otherwise, why would they just bring a UFC fighter into this, but then not really utilize that and play on it more,
Yeah.
So I just have a feeling that this isn't going to be the first time we're going to see Daniel Cormier in a match, but it might next time be in a wrestling match rather than as the referee. And I think if anyone's going to pull off a great match with someone from UFC, I think Seth is a really great opponent for a lot of new wrestlers. He had a great match for Dominic Mysterio's first match in wrestling, and that he's really great at elevating and supporting the wrestlers that come into it. So I do see it going that way.
I've got to take chances. I do see Matt Riddle getting a win. I called it Clash. Matt Riddle scoring the victory, but I got to take chances. With Rollins, momentum is key. Win another pay-per-view match, and then facing Lashley on Raw the next night. So I'm gonna go Seth Rollins. Fuck it. I'm literally going for it on this one. I could be wrong, and I normally am. Monty's gone Matt Riddle. And then we've got the I Quit match, which, again, some people might call this a dream match between Edge and Finn Balor. Edge has been feuding with Judgment Day for what seems like years now. Jaxie, will this be the end, and which way is this going to go?
I'm not sure if it will be the end, if I'm honest. So I've gone with Finn Balor. I see again, potential fuck ups happening. A lot of like Rhea interference, Dominic interference. I feel like we'll get sort of maybe Rey Mysterio come out, but ultimately, I don't know why, but I have a feeling AJ Styles might be leaning towards joining the Judgment Day, and I feel like he might play a deciding factor in Finn Balor getting the win here. So I'm actually going with Finn Balor on this one.
Excellent shout. Gina?
Yeah, I have also done Finn Balor on this one. For me, I more was just thinking that I think it would do better for Finn Balor to win over Edge in relation to storyline wise. If they really want the Judgment Day to be formidable, you got to think Edge is still here to try and help elevate some of the, more younger team talent. So for me, I feel like this win is more needed for Finn than Edge. So I've more gone with Finn for that reason.
Yeah, completely understandable. And the other thing as well is Edge got the knee injury that they can play into for submission. My only thing is, and again, I've got to take chances, is in an I Quit match, can a good guy quit in any way possible without it seeming kind of cheap? Balor needs the win here. I completely agree with you, but I can't put Edge out of the equation. I know and everything else. The AJ Styles thing.
So it'll be like I think it'll be through cheating tactics as to how Balor will pick up the win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the whole reason behind an I Quit match, I think. So I mean, we could even get it. So I don't know, maybe Rhea grabs hold of Beth Phoenix if she's in the crowd, and they maybe threaten Beth Phoenix. They could do any form of sort of tactic that will get Edge. But I think ultimately, it will lead to Finn being the winner.
I do agree, but like I said, I've got to change out Edge with the submission with the chair thingy that he's doing as well, the crossface, get the job done there. There's not many prediction-wise that 3 and 3 we've gone for completely different. Monty has also gone Finn Balor, which doesn't help me out at all. And up next, we've got Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes. And of course, the Intercontinental title match on SmackDown was fantastic between Walter and Sheamus, even though the finish was... I mean, Gina, I'm not going to lie, Walter did tap out, didn't he? That is a tap out.
I mean, he tapped out, but I kind of felt like he only tapped twice. And I'm not saying it because I'm on their side, because technically I'm not. I really wanted Sheamus winning. But for me, he tapped twice, but he didn't tap a third time. And I thought when you tap out, you've got to tap at least 3 times. So I don't know. Again, I really wanted Sheamus to win. So if they would have called it from that tap out, I wouldn't have even questioned them on it and been like, oh, he only tapped twice. I would have been on Sheamus's side. But I also am kind of not as mad at the ref, because my understanding is that you need to tap 3 times.
Yeah, again, if the rule was explained, that would probably make it easier. I was just like, they just had him tap out there, but I don't know if they realised or not.
I don't know if the commentators did a good enough job sort of explaining sort of whether or not a referee seeing a tap is more than 3 times or not. They should have kind of made that a bit clear, because at first I must admit, I looked away for a split second, and it was in the space of that split second that he tapped, because the minute that I looked back, he wasn't tapping. So it was kind of one of those moments where I think it depends on what angle you're at, from where you're looking, and whether on how that could have been judged or how that could have been called. The ref easily could have called it, and I don't think that anyone would have had an issue with that, with that call. But I think the ref made her own call about the situation and felt like it wasn't. If anything, the only reason why I'm not too mad at it is because I'm actually hoping that this means that they are going to give the belt to Sheamus eventually, but it will be at a premium live event. It won't be just at the end of SmackDown, you know?
Yeah, because we've made Sheamus into a kind of star now.
The biggest babyface. Yeah, exactly. And the fact that, he won using the shillelagh just shows that, Sheamus deserves another shot at it. So, I mean, I have no doubt that we are going to get this title match again, but it's either going to be announced to go at Crown Jewel and Sheamus will win it there, or it will be at the next event that they have. But I actually think it will be added to the Crown Jewel match lineup, because if they're going to change titles, let's face it, they still got to keep, Saudi Arabia sweet, so why not do the title change there? That'll give them what they want. They'll be satisfied that they kind of got to see the title change in person, that sort of thing. So that's what I have a feeling that's what Triple H is waiting for.
Yeah, we had that. Well, as for the Bruce,
and that's why we're getting obviously the 6-man tag at Extreme Rules to kind of fill in that gap in between.
Yes, and the other thing as well, it could help, even if Walter's not going to lose the Intercontinental title, for the Brutes to actually get a victory against Imperium, help out with the story involved, and especially with the debut of Legado del Fantasma last night, with not Elektra Lopez.
Yeah.
What? But, with that 6-man group in there as well, it getting really, really tasty at this moment in time. But Gina, which way do you see the Brutes and Imperium going?
I've put the Brutes as winning this one. Gunther got the win yesterday. Yesterday for SmackDown. So I see the Brutes getting the win, but I also feel like they kind of deserve the win because Imperium have kind of got their way over the past few months. And even at the Clash, Imperium kind of got their way. So the Brutes really need a win, and I think that it'll be at Extreme Rules they'll get it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Jaxie.
Yeah, I called this with the Brawling Brutes winning as well. I think a lot of this does have to do with the outcome of SmackDown last night, and just having Gunther retain it. It definitely helps me think, well, the Brutes will pick up the win here, and I see Pete Dunne picking up the win. I see Pete Dunne, the unhinged, the all rabid dog, being let off the leash and just running wild. This is going to be one of those matches that I'm really anticipating. I think this is going to be an all-out brawl, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I should say this is a Donnybrook match. So whatever the fuck that is what's going to happen.
I mean, do you know what that is? Because Gina and I were really trying to work out what a Donnybrook match is. What is it like? Is it just meant to mean a tornado tag match, or is it meant to mean they're just all in at the same time? What is a Donnybrook?
Everybody knows. Please let us know, because we don't know. It's not British. It's not Irish. It's not. It might be like an American.
I don't know where the term came from.
No. I don't know if it's like a generic term for something like that. I don't understand.
Yeah, please do enlighten us if you do know, please.
But we all went to Brutes. The first one, we'd all gone Brutes on there. Up next, it is Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Jaxie, I mean, Drew just can't catch a fucking break, can he? If it's not Solo, it's Kross. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely on a very bad string of bad luck. Do you know what I mean? unfortunately, like for me on this event, I actually feel like that bad luck is going to continue. And now let me explain. I feel like Karrion Kross, first of all, has to pick up this win. His first time debuting in WWE was awful, and that was entirely on Vince. If you're going to make a statement with Karrion Kross, you've got to come across the right way. And having him come back with his first match to lose is just going to do more irreparable damage, and you need to kind of build that back up with Karrion Kross. So I do see Karrion being the one that comes out on top. However, I do see this being a very testing match for Drew, not only in terms of like the stipulations that are surrounding this match, but come on, let's all of us not bullshit each other here. We all know that these little QR signs and the little white rabbit things, especially with the little sort of promotion we got on SmackDown last night as well, with a white rabbit jumping down a hole and it looked like to the pit of hell or something. Let's not fool ourselves. The Fiend is going to turn up on Extreme Rules. It like turned up with a big purple X on it in like the little sort of gaming graphics look on Saturday night. And I'm trying to put all of this together, and I'm thinking to myself, where would the Fiend like best turn up in Extreme Rules? And I can just imagine like the sheer shock of having like the Fiend sort of turn up in Karrion Kross's match, but not for Karrion Kross, for Drew. And then like having him go even further down the rabbit hole of Mans that just wants to keep taking him out, so I see him having like a potential good feud going forward, even with like the Fiend. So I'm actually going to call the Fiend's return to WWE during this match, and I think that will result in maybe Karrion Kross getting the win. So yeah, that's my pick.
Gina?
I mean, that is really good. I kind of thought the Fiend would come back in the Seth Rollins match, but I didn't even remember to mention the Fiend. So fair play to you for bringing it up. And to be honest, with how you kind of sold it, I'd be happy with that kind of storyline happening now, if I'm honest. So hire my sister, WWE. Anyway, I've gone with Karrion for the win as well on this one. I definitely agree that he needs the win, especially because of his first debut with Raw, and SmackDown was just awful. So I definitely think he needs the win more than Drew does. Drew's always going to be loved and pushed, and I definitely think that he'll get his time again. But right now, I think Karrion's going to get this win.
Yeah, I mean, Monty's gone Drew, and I don't think it's any surprise who I've gone for. But weirdly enough, and Jaxie, I said earlier how proud I am of you, but literally that explanation for that match, and I don't know if it's about the wavelengths, but it's kind of what I thought. You've gone into more detail as well about the Fiend return and costing Drew. But like I said, with Kross, it makes perfect sense as well. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I love Drew, but Chris is Kross's first match on pay-per-view properly, and I think they have to make a statement. Like you said, Drew can respond, and even though I'll be upset about Drew losing, the thing I really am digging at the moment until Cody comes back is the fact that if you look at what happened at the Clash, you look at what happened at Solo Sikoa getting his way and having that roadblock, then Karrion Kross, and then potentially Bray Wyatt and all these things. He's positioned as the number one guy, a babyface Drew at this moment in time. Can he overcome the odds to finally do it? And what a story it would be, even if it is a year's time at Clash at the Castle 2, where he can finally get revenge on everybody, But I think that's excellent,
Exactly.
I completely agree with you.
It would be really great long-time storytelling for sure.
Yeah, but I completely agree with, like you said, the whole Wyatt thing, the whole Kross villain as well. They're fantastic. Yeah. So 3 of us Kross, 1 of us Drew, and that's Monty. You want to put bet on that at the start. And then what we think then again, if Bray does come back, will that be a slot because of how big a thing it will be? Or will... Because Bayley and Belair, these two women, the feud that they've had for this past couple of months or so since SummerSlam has been great. And this is the first time ever a single match for the Women's Championship in a ladder, so it is historic. But it'll be interesting to see. I think if we see Bayley and Belair first, or whatever it is, we're thinking Bray's definitely coming back.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like, I mean, I was trying really hard to think about what the main event was going to be, but I don't see it being either women's match, if I'm truly honest. And I do think that they will leave Drew and Karrion Kross till maybe last. And if that is the case, then yeah, that's when Bray will turn up.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to think. It's really exciting what could happen, but we have got potential, let's say, the last match to predict, which is Bayley versus Belair. So, Gina, which way does this main event go?
I mean, my initial one is to say Bianca to retain and keep her streak going still. I'm happy for her to keep going. But with Dakota and Io getting the tag belts, I definitely could see Bayley getting the belt. And, just really solidifying the trios. I don't really think that there's going to be any other interference apart from possibly just, damage control getting involved. The only reason I say that is because, again, I do think that Bray will return. So I don't think they want to overpower us with the return, and because we did have Zelina Vega come back as well, there's not really anybody else that I feel like really needs to get involved at this point. I know that everybody wants Sasha and Naomi to come back, but I don't think Extreme Rules is the time for them to come back. You guys may disagree, but I don't think that would be the right time, especially if they do the whole Bray thing.
No, especially because there's no tag team match, like women's tag team match happening. So it would feel kind of weird if they both returned for that for nothing.
Yeah, it would just feel a little bit wasted and rushed. So I think Bayley is going to win, possibly with the help with Damage Control getting themselves involved and casting things there. But I also do think that Bayley's a wicked champ and everyone's happy to have her back anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go with her.
Yeah, and Jaxie?
It's so strange because we're actually like twinning it with all of our choices this time around. But I think it's really easy to do, especially when there's only 6 matches. But I feel like I say sadly for a reason, but sadly have gone with Bayley. I'm not ready for Bianca to stop being champion yet. I think she is a great champion. I think she's got so much about her. I could just see her actually have a full-on year's run with the belt. But I think what my sister says speaks a lot of truth in terms of with Damage Control as the tag champs, putting the belt on Bayley would make sense, to have people like have faces chasing for the belt. And yeah, like it just feels like it could happen with the potential sort of, how they had the sort of fight with Bianca and that, and it looked like they potentially had taken out Asuka. So it's like, touch and go on whether or not there'll be a lot of significance to Asuka and Alexa being present within the match to kind of keep Damage Control at bay. So I kind of feel like there is that slim chance Bayley could win due to pressure from like her group and her faction. I will forever be grateful and happy if I lose this point. And Bianca does stay as the winner, but I'm going to say that I think that Bayley might take the win here.
Yeah, I think Bayley is the one. The reason is, like I said, there's so much momentum from Damage Control. Having all the gold together makes sense. A ladder match as well is not Belair being pinned, so she can still have that there and then kind of build her up. Don't get me wrong, I'd love Bianca to win this match and go like a year as champion. But I think win or loss tonight, she will be in probably main event of WrestleMania coming or one of the major matches anyway. So I think that been good for Bianca, and I think with Bayley that little bit of momentum and have that championship, because like we said, it's weird that these two women were feuding before Bayley's injury and now kind of picked up at this point. But it's very rare as well that in a pay-per-view is actually quite exciting. I know we were at the last one with Clash, but even with the matches that are involved, and I know predictions might be quite similar, but there's certain things that could happen tonight. I mean, even like Nia or Sasha Banks returning could change things up in the women's title matches, So it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens. And also, with predictions being so close, Gina, we need the win here, but you and Jaxie will be level no matter what. So you've only got 2 more shows after this to try and win outright or even draw.
I think I've just taken it out of my head that I'll win it. So if I do, then it'll be a really pleasant surprise.
Do you know what? I feel like Survivor Series could be the deciding factor. Survivor Series is going to have so much going for it that, it's going to be a hard one, because I swear, there's going to be just not only sort of like the versus different brands sort of matches, but there'll be title matches as well. So I can imagine things to be a lot more difficult with a lot more matches involved. When it's just 6 matches, you've got a lot more that time to think about like potential outcomes,
But this is the thing, I think with WWE this year, the majority, since WrestleMania have been 6-match pay-per-views, which again help it out, not in a prediction way, but just kind of the way you're watching it. And like I said, when you're trying to do 15 matches for like an AEW show, you need a calculator trying to work out the predictions. But this one, like I said, I've taken a chance. It might, blow up in my face, so to speak. But we'll see what happens. And that will be, the next show will be the Extreme Rules review. And of course, we'll work out when we can do that. But is there anything else first, Jaxie? Is anything else today about Extreme Rules, about Royal Quest, or anything else we've spoken about?
I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't think that we're going to get a form of like USO interference or anything like that, which will be disappointing when it comes to sort of Extreme Rules. But then again, with Crown Jewel coming up a month later, or less than a month later, I should say, we'll probably have like USO sort of bloodline, very dominant, heavy there. I think that if, like I said before, if it's not if the main event isn't Ronda or Bianca's matches, then it's going to be the Drew and Carrier match, and I believe that Bray Wyatt will be returning. So that I think is going to be the main sort of like outcome that everyone's going to be shocked about. I hope I'm right on that front, though. So we'll see. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gina, what about you? I mean, like I said, the New Japan show seems like months ago, but it was only a week, and of course, Extreme Rules tonight. The wrestling world never stops, does it?
No, it truly doesn't. And I've definitely suffered this week trying to catch up and keep on top of just everything that's just happened recently, because I've had quite a busy few days personally as well. So it does literally feel like a month has passed since we watched the New Japan event, and it's only been a week, but I would totally give anything to experience it all over again. So I'm excited to just sit and chill tonight and watch the Extreme Rules. I'll hopefully be watching it live, so I get to enjoy it. And I'll be live tweeting. So if anybody else is, let's all tweet together about it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, that's it. And don't forget, we're across all social media. If you want to live tweet with us, Twitter, at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me across both Twitter and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett.
And Gina?
You can find me on both at Purple Pain.
It's weird when I say Gina, I kind of go past the microphone like a car going by, like, Gina. I don't know why. Anyway, the WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. the WNR442@gmail.com, and YouTube podcast. We have all the latest clips, and we actually have latest clips. I say that every episode, but we actually have got like New Japan and Clash at the Castle shit. So if you're listening to this and going, well, where's the content? It's there. Find us there. We're also on YouTube, like I said. Podcasts got the same time on YouTube to do SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. Next episode, Extreme Rules Review. And of course, coming up this month in October, Gina and I will be doing a show, just the two of us, for the first time ever. And of course, we've got a Halloween special coming at the end of the month as well. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, was joined by the fantastic Scarlett. Like I said, happy 2-year anniversary, and let's hope for many more.
Yeah, exactly. I've had fun. Can't wait to do the next one. And enjoy it. Extreme Rules, everyone.
Yeah, and also we've had the genius of Gina, who has graced us with the genius for nearly a year now.
Well, thank you for having me for nearly a year now. But definitely so much fun, and I can't wait to continue.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.